Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. Now, today I'm going to talk about why I'm bullish, why the macro factors are there for me to be bullish. And I'm not really bullish because it just went past 20K again and at 25, 21.5. I'm bullish because of other reasons, upcoming events, and we're going to see another $500 million block buy in cryptocurrencies. So let's actually take care of that reason first. MicroStrategy is selling $500 million of their stock to raise $500 million to buy Bitcoin with. So we know we're going to get a pretty big OTC buy that could possibly dry up the rest of the OTC market. Banks have been talking a little bit more positively about crypto, even though the mighty Gary Gensler still wants to turn everything into securities, which may or may not work. I'm not really sure how Congress is going to act against that, and that is my one kind of stopping point on being overly bullish because they could turn this whole thing around. But if you actually look at macro factors, they actually play in our favor. You might think, oh, the world is still screwed. How is the macro factors playing into our favor? Well, the crypto market follows the US market, specifically the NASDAQ, more than anything else. It doesn't really seem to care too much about what's happening in China and Europe. And yes, China and Europe are both screwed. But the US is actually recovering much faster. Remember, the US does not import that much from Russia in the first place. We're not dependent on Russia for gas. And as for cheap stuff manufactured from China, we can find somewhere else to build that cheap stuff. So we don't have any critical problems right now aside from our debt, and a country's debt is different from your personal debt, so you can't really try to equate the two by saying we owe a lot of money. Yes, we owe a lot of people money, but a lot of people also owe us money. The world kind of works on debt financing, so that's another topic for another day. But what I will say is the CPI report should be positive on Tuesday, because what I'm thinking is that the inflation rate is going to continue dropping, maybe even into the sevens. If it drops below 8.0 into the sevens, then the Fed might actually ease up on raising their interest rates. I'm still expecting Jerome Powell fully to raise 75 basis points, but the market has already absorbed that in. And despite how scary sounding Jerome Powell has tried to make himself, people aren't buying it anymore, and the market is actually correcting itself from its losses earlier in the week. We've basically gained all the power back for Bitcoin, and we only really went down in Bitcoin because someone forced liquidated 30,000 Bitcoin on a long, and now the short liquidations are piling up as well. So I do think the CPI on a macro factor will actually help it this time around. And since the market has already priced in, the 75 basis point rise, I don't think that will actually tank the market too much. I think inflation overall in the United States is actually coming down. Gas prices might actually fall below $3. Not really sure how much of our strategic reserve we've eaten, but gas prices are most likely to fall below $3. I don't think the war in Ukraine is going to end anytime soon, so gas could still be pretty stringent for the winter, and that could put us on the back foot for a couple of months until the weather gets warmer again. But overall macro factors for the US do seem to be lining up. The inflation does seem to be going down some, and based on that, crypto should actually come up. I mean, between the Michael Saylor buys, between all the big banks and stuff getting more positive on crypto, and the macro factors actually pointing up, I'm actually very, very bullish. Plus, you have a lot of events coming. The ETH merge, I think, will plow through a lot of the criticism of energy usage for crypto, and a lot of the hard forks for Cardano and other things, I think will spur more people to get into blockchain as well. I think some people are seeing the benefits of blockchain technology. The technology is getting more and more adopted, and I think the economic factors in the US at least will be more favorable next year than they were this year. So we should actually end this year on a high note. Now, some of you are actually saying, what about midterms? After they're over, won't Jerome Powell just destroy everything? Jerome Powell honestly doesn't really have too many bullet stuff. He has already tried his damnedest to destroy everything, and he doesn't really seem to care about midterms. He's tried his best to sound as scary as possible at Jackson Hole and other places. So I think the market has adjusted to it, and he wasn't holding back just because of midterms, so I don't see increased ferocity after midterms. So based on that, I don't really see any Fed speeches or anything really tanking the market after midterms. And realistically, I actually think the market is shrunken back enough. We've taken a little bit of a break. Inflation's had its run. I do believe it is going to go down. The labor market's probably going to get a little bit weaker, but not too weak because there's still a lot of demand for labor. So a lot of the macro factors definitely pointing up, and we're very lucky that crypto doesn't follow the European and Asian market, it follows the US market. And because of those things, I'm actually pretty bullish again, and I think we've made it past the worst of it. September was supposed to be uber scary for crypto. We're almost halfway through September, and it wasn't really that uber scary. So even the psychological aspect of September didn't really shake the markets too much. That's why I think we actually did bottom in June. We might revisit that bottom, but we will pop back up pretty fast. So that's why I'm actually very bullish. I don't really see us going to a lower bottom. If it was going to happen, it's going to happen in September, and it does not look like we're going to have some kind of catastrophic downfall. And I do actually believe next week will be fairly positive. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.